Hi, Ernesto. Hi, Michael.
Yeah, hi.
This question says, is it possible that a lucid dream allows us to give way to the complete dissolution of the ego by seeing in the dream with dreams that everything, including the self that claims to be dreaming, is unreal?
This term lucid dream is used a lot. But if you try to find a clear definition of it, it seems the basic definition is a lucid dream is a dream in which you know you are dreaming. But there are other qualities that a lucid dream is supposed to have. This idea that in a dream you know that you're dreaming, sometimes we may get an idea while we're dreaming, oh, this is just a dream. But when we say we know we are dreaming, it's our so-called knowledge that we are dreaming is just an idea that occurs in that dream. Now, is our present, according to Bhagavan, our present state is a dream. Is this a lucid dream or a non-lucid dream? Most of us believe that we're awake. We don't believe we're dreaming. So if we are willing to accept that we're dreaming, does that make this dream become a lucid dream? It's still, but it seems to be just as real whether we think we are dreaming or we think we're awake. So really, there are different, obviously we all know, but there are dreams of different quality. But as I said in the earlier video, a dream is like a cinema film. The films that were made 100 years ago or 80, 90 years ago by Charlie Chaplin and Laurel and Hardy and such people, obviously the technology was relatively primitive. So those films are not such good quality. I mean, the production, they may be good quality comedy, but the production quality is fairly poor. Then come the 1950s, they started to improve the technology. And as time has gone on, the technology has been improving. Now we have all this CGI and everything. You can have dinosaurs, monsters, all sorts of dragons, all sorts of things, but so lifelike. So this is high quality production. But whether it's a 1920s film or a 20s film you're watching, it's still a film. The production quality may differ, but it's still a film. Likewise, a dream, there may be different qualities of dream, but whether it's a good quality dream or a bad quality dream, it's still a dream. One thing that Bhagavan pointed out, why generally, at least now from a perspective of this waking state, it seems that our present state is a very consistent state. Unlike in some dreams, we don't, one minute we're not in one place and the next minute we're suddenly in some other place. It doesn't, such experiences don't generally occur in this present dream of ours. Bhagavan said the reason for that is that it is the stability or consistency of a dream depends on the strength of identification with the body. Because now we are strongly identified with this body, strongly attached to this body. This state seems to be a very stable and consistent state. Things happen in a consistent manner. Whereas in some dreams, our identification with, our attachment to the body that we then experience as I is a very, very insubstantial attachment. It's only a weak attachment. So because of the weakness of that attachment, the dream seems to be, the dream is not consistent. Suddenly one moment we're in one place, next moment we're in another place. We're talking to our father at 1 minute and suddenly it becomes a friend of ours. I mean, like that, things change because of because of the weakness or the lack of strength of attachment we have to that body. So there are definitely some dreams, even the dreams we have at night when we're sleeping, some dreams are far more vivid than others. Some seem to be very, very inconsistent with things with one moment with one place, one moment with the next place. Whereas in other dreams, it seems to be as consistent as this present waking state. In fact, in some dreams, we may wake up in the morning from a dream and think, oh, this is the waking state. And we get up and we go about starting our day, get ready to go to work or whatever. And suddenly we wake up again. The first waking was not into this present dream, but into another dream, which we mistook to be this dream. So there are dreams that are as convincing as this present dream. Where lucid dream fit into this, because people often ask me about lucid dreams, I've read various things that they say about lucid dream. These are all, it doesn't seem to, I mean, these are all just, I don't see anything, there doesn't seem to be any clear dividing line between what is a lucid dream and what is not a lucid dream. It seems to me to be a very vague, a term with a very vague definition. I mean, there are not two different types of dreams, lucid dreams, non-lucid dreams. Maybe some dreams seem to be more lucid, whatever that term means, than others, but it's all relative. Even if we think, sometimes we do think while we're dreaming, oh, this is just a dream, but it still continues to seem just as real as it did. So I don't think there's any useful significance in the idea of a lucid dream. It may be relevant to psychology, but it's not relevant to spirituality. Regarding the rest of the question, I don't really understand that. Is it possible that a lucid dream allows us to give way to complete dissolution of the ego by seeing in the dream with dreams? What does in the dream with dreams mean? I'm not quite sure. That everything, including the self that claims to be dreaming, is unreal. So long as we are experiencing a dream, it seems to be real.
No,
Even if we think it's a dream, it still seems to be a real dream. So, no. I mean, whatever we perceive seems to us to be real. It may be an illusion. If we see a snake, see a rope and mistake it to be a snake, the snake seems to be real. Until we see that it's a rope, it seems to be real. So dreams always seem to be real while we're experiencing them. Even if we think, oh, this is only a dream, it still seems to be real as a dream. So long as we are seeing anything other than ourselves, we are giving reality to ego. That is, ego is that there are two fundamental characteristics of ego. As ego, we are always aware of ourselves as a body, and we are also always aware of things other than ourselves. If we cease to be aware of anything other than ourselves, ego thereby dissolves. When we fall asleep, we cease to be aware of ourselves as a body, and we also cease to be aware of anything else.
The point, Michael, or the core of this topic is,
yes,
if you are in the dream state,
yes,
and suddenly you ask for yourself, who are dreaming that, no?
Yeah.
And this who are asking himself, I'm dreaming, that is the ego.
Yes.
But it's possible, because there is no difference between the dream state and the waking state, that the self-investigation begin in this dream state, staying the ego present in the process. The Sahaya Samadhi occurs.
If we investigate ourselves in a dream, I mean, we can investigate. If we're often practicing self-attentiveness in waking state, we will also sometimes do so while we're dreaming. But generally what happens, if while we're having a dream at night, we remember to turn our attention back towards ourselves, usually what happens is the dream is thereby dissolved, because our attachment to the dream body is less strong than our attachment to our present body. That dream is easily dissolved by a little bit of self-attentiveness. And then we either wake up or fall asleep or go to another dream. Mm-hmm. So it is good to practice self-attentiveness even while we're dreaming. But as I say, it brings the dream to an end. Not always, but usually that is what happens.
Yes, yes.
But it just brings the dream to an end. It doesn't bring the dreamer to an end, because the dreamer then begins dreaming some other dream. Mm-hmm. For example, this dream.
And the thing, Michael, also after a lucid dream, what you call lucid dream, there is a distinction. Then you have to go back to the waking state and deal with this reality.
Yeah.
So in this reality, it's not going to look unreal.
Yeah.
I don't think so. And I think that
most of those people who attach a lot of importance to lucid dreams, they wouldn't be willing to accept that this dream, that this present state is a dream. No, this is waking state. This is real, they'll say. So they're not. That means they're not lucidly dreaming this dream. They're in a non-lucid dream now. So it. The thing is, so long as we are attending to the dream, we are the dreamer. We continue to be the dreamer so long as we are allowing our attention to go outwards. If we want to bring the dreamer to an end, we need to turn our attention within to investigate who am I.
The factor, Michael, then for we are discussing is that in the waking state is deeper and stronger, the identification with the body.
The attachment, the dehabhimana, the attachment to the body is generally speaking is stronger in this present dream.
And maybe it is necessary to a complete dissolution or eradication of the ego, no, in the Sahaya Samadhi. If you are not absolutely identification with the body, and the body is the projection of the ego to appear here as a persona, maybe it's necessary to this final step that all the feel that you are the ego with all the idea of I absolutely dissolve in the source.
Yes. Earlier I said, but if we practice self-attention in a dream, generally we come to this waking state. But that doesn't mean that we cannot we cannot know ourselves as we actually are while dreaming. We can. I mean, if we turn our attention back to ourselves keenly enough, we would experience ourselves as we actually are, and thereby ego would be dissolved. So just as ego can be dissolved in this state, it can be dissolved in any other dream. But generally speaking, because the little bit of self-attention brings the dream to an end, and then we get caught up in this other dream. So, but in any state, at any point in waking or dream, we can turn our attention back to ourselves. And if we turn it back to ourselves keenly enough, the whole thing the ego will thereby be dissolved, and all dreams will thereby come to an end.
And also I think that some people think that they take like lucid dreaming as the equivalent to the enlightenment in this waking state.
Yes,
That means that's just, I mean, it's confirming that there is a world outside independent from what we are, right?
Yeah, most people don't have no idea what is meant by enlightenment. That is so-called spiritual enlightenment. Most people's idea, if spiritual enlightenment means Atma-vichara, it is a state of pure awareness. It's our real nature. It's so anything, so long as we are aware of anything other than ourselves, whether it be waking or dream or lucid or not lucid, so long as we're aware of anything other than ourselves, that is, what is aware of anything other than itself is only ego. So whatever lucidity you may be claimed for certain states, it is not real lucidity. Lucidity means clarity. The real clarity is only the clarity of pure awareness.
Yes. And too many people, Michael, usually sustain the idea that we cannot aspirate to a absolutely continuous consciousness of God, of ourselves, because in the last step that we can want to achieve is the functional ego, that it absolutely disappassionate, and absolutely in peace, and you are in the vision that there are not projection of the mind. You are absolutely feel oneness with all, but the ego is necessary as the rope barn, no?
Yes.
It's a confusion of too many people that don't want to go absolutely to the solution.
People believe all sorts of things. People believe what they want to believe, but according to Bhagavan, so long as you're aware of anything other than yourself, that is ego. And so long as your ego is there, it is a state of ignorance. It's not a state of knowledge. Yeah. Is it possible to dissolve ego completely and to be in a state of pure awareness? Yes, it is, because the truth is we are always in a state, we are always that pure awareness. It is only because of our failure to attend to ourselves keenly enough, we seem to be in ignorance. We seem to have risen as ego. We seem to be aware of the world. But if we turn our attention back within keenly enough to see what we actually are, we will see that we were ever pure and immutable awareness. Immutable means we never underwent any change of any sort whatsoever. There never was any ego, never was any world. That is ajata. That is ajata. But when many people fail to understand what the term ajata means, and they give it some meaning of their own. But ajata is the state where is our real state, in which we know that we have never been anything other than pure awareness.
Yes.
And therefore never aware of anything other than ourselves.
Yes, and too many people see the last meter of the way in this kind of saint feel of absolutely dissolution of the desires, of the fears, no? As Sadhguru maybe, or Sri Muruganar before the Sahaya Samadhi, when they arrive and stay in a very clear state of without thought.
We cannot get rid of desire and fear without getting rid of the one who has desire and fear. Yes. Anyone who thinks that they're free of desire and fear, they will get a rude shock at some point. Because that is the very nature of ego is grasping. As Bhagavan says, grasping form, it comes into existence. Grasping form, it stands. Grasping and feeding form. So grasping is the nature of ego. Grasping means desire. So the desire is the very nature of ego. And if there is desire, there will also be fear. If you desire something, you will fear to lose it. So we cannot overcome desire and fear without eradicating ego. We can maybe reduce the strength of our desires and fears to a considerable extent, but they will still be there so long as ego is there.
Yes.
So one second before your enlightenment, you can experience fear as Bhagavan, as Ramana, as conflict, any human experience, any worldly experience you might have. 1 second before enlightenment.
Yes.
In the Kabbalah, for example, Michael, and in other non-dual traditions, say that in the last moment before the dissolution of the ego, the ego presents the more hard battle.
Yes, there may be some truth in that. That is, when our Vishaya vasanas get weakened, as our Vishaya vasanas become weaker and weaker, ego is more and more exposed in a sense. So ego becomes like a wounded tiger caught in a corner. A wounded tiger caught in a corner, though it's very weak, it will fight back very fiercely. So ego will, in a sense, the intense fear of death, but Bhagavan God, that is ego fighting back.
Mm.
But because of his intense vairagya, he was able to turn within, and ego was thereby vanquished.